Welcome to Palace Insider, the place where whispers never sleep and secrets shimmer beneath a polished veneer of luxury. January 2026 has ignited a firestorm across social media with the release of a stunning new set of yacht photos, images Meghan Markle allegedly believed had vanished forever, buried in the shadows of time. For years, she tried to command her narrative, shaping the story the world would tell about her. When she couldn't, she retreated, seeking privacy, a safe space to craft her own version of events away from the relentless gaze of the public. She believed her past could remain hidden, perfectly curated, untouchable. But now, the past has returned, unbidden, undeniable, and impossible to ignore. These aren't the tired, recycled snapshots that have circulated for years, blurry, grainy images that could be dismissed as inconsequential. These are brand new, crystal-clear photographs, capturing moments previously unseen, moments that reveal a side of Meghan few imagined. The clarity of these images is shocking. Every gesture, every expression, every detail is laid bare, offering a window into a world she has never publicly acknowledged. And when they hit the internet, the reaction was instantaneous. Chaos, speculation, and fascination erupting across every platform. But it isn't merely the existence of these photos that has people talking, it's what they show. Meghan appears in ultra-private, meticulously curated settings she has never spoken about, mingling with figures and circles that most could only dream of accessing. A hidden chapter of her life is now fully exposed. Voices from high society networks in the Middle East are now speaking louder than ever, confirming what insiders have quietly suggested for years. The photos seem to validate long-standing claims. Meghan's pre-royal life was not casual, not accidental. It was deliberate, strategic, and calculated. She was building influence, forging connections, and positioning herself within a sphere of immense power long before her marriage to royalty. The implications are staggering, complex, and dramatic. Where does one go from here? How does such exposure redefine a life, a reputation, a carefully constructed public image? Sources from Gulf region social circles allege that Meghan's presence at these events wasn't driven by leisure or indulgence. She wasn't drifting through parties or attending luxury vacations on a whim. Each gathering, each appearance, was part of a meticulous plan. The leaked images reportedly place her on lavish yachts, surrounded by ultra-influential figures from Saudi Arabia and other wealthy nations, people whose very presence carries immense sway and demands attention. These are individuals whose every action is measured, strategic, and purposeful. Every scene captured in the photos radiates intention. Nothing is coincidental. These were moves made with precision, designed to cultivate influence, and executed with foresight and sophistication. What is particularly striking is how seamlessly Meghan blends into these elite settings. She is poised, confident, and entirely at ease. This isn't the nervous uncertainty of a young actress trying to find her footing. This is someone who knows the rules, understands the game, and moves with calculated grace. There's an unmistakable air of belonging, as if she was always meant to navigate these corridors of wealth and power. Each yacht, each gathering, each elite circle reveals a pattern: repetition, strategy, consistency. It is not luck, chance, or coincidence. It is deliberate design. The timing of these leaks only amplifies the impact. Meghan has been hard at work on a polished rebrand, Netflix deals, lifestyle ventures, public appearances carefully choreographed to project authenticity, relatability, and modernity. And then, seemingly out of nowhere, these photos emerge, shattering the carefully constructed narrative. It's a stark reminder that the past, no matter how meticulously managed, cannot always be contained. Someone somewhere has held on to these images for years, biding their time, waiting for the moment when their release would have maximum effect. The strategic timing of this leak suggests a calculated intent, a message sent without words. The story isn't as controlled as you think. The photos also raise uncomfortable questions. How was such access funded? Who opened the doors to these exclusive gatherings? What relationships were forged in those private circles? Meghan is seen rubbing shoulders with figures whose influence spans continents, yet the public record of her pre-royal years offers little explanation. These images suggest long-term planning, sustained networking, and careful cultivation of trust within the world's most secretive and exclusive networks. This was more than social climbing. It was a carefully orchestrated strategy of engagement, influence, and positioning. And while networking and ambition are hardly scandalous in isolation, these images clash dramatically with the story Meghan has spent years crafting, the narrative of a self-made actress, a relatable figure who achieved success through talent, hard work, and perseverance. The new photos suggest a more calculated approach, one that involved strategic access, elite connections, and maneuvering within powerful international networks. This is a story that is far richer, more complex, and far less linear than the one presented to the public. Now the world is watching, and her silence speaks volumes. No statement, no clarification, no context. Each passing day without response fuels speculation further. The narrative is no longer hers to control. The leaked photos have opened a door that she cannot close, revealing a chapter of her life that challenges the very foundation of her public image. And the implications are significant. Questions of funding, access, influence, and intent swirl through public discourse. Every day, theories grow. Online debates intensify and curiosity deepens. These images also hint at the extraordinary secrecy and discretion demanded by the circles Meghan moved within. Private yachts, closed decks, invitation-only gatherings, environments where silence is law, privacy sacrosanct. For photos to emerge now, after more than a decade, indicates a profound breach of that trust. Something inside these elite networks has shifted. Loyalties may have changed. Someone has decided that the veil of secrecy is no longer necessary. This breach isn't accidental. It is deliberate, purposeful, and designed to disrupt the carefully curated story that Meghan has spent years constructing. And so the questions mount. Who funded these trips? Who opened the doors to these high-security, invitation-only events? What was discussed behind closed doors, and how did these connections shape the trajectory of her career and personal life? Who holds the remaining evidence, and what else might they be waiting to release? The speculation is relentless, the stakes enormous, and the spotlight unyielding. Meghan's silence amplifies the intrigue, transforming curiosity into obsession, uncertainty into widespread fascination. This is more than a story of yachts and high society. It is a glimpse into a carefully orchestrated strategy, a portrait of influence cultivated in secrecy, and a public figure navigating the collision between private ambition and global scrutiny. The new images don't just challenge Meghan's narrative, they force the world to reconsider what was known, what was hidden, and what was deliberately curated. The past, it seems, has finally caught up, and there is no turning back. As the photos circulated, a deeper pattern began to emerge, one that went far beyond mere luxury or glamorous appearances. These images suggest that Meghan's presence in elite circles wasn't happenstance. She wasn't drifting through yacht parties or Mediterranean getaways for fun or fleeting social clout. Sources from Gulf region social networks indicate that she was quietly, deliberately building a web of connections with people whose influence extends across continents. These were figures who don't mingle casually. Billionaires, royals, and business magnates whose private gatherings are tightly controlled and highly selective. Invitations to such spaces are not handed out lightly. Every attendee is carefully vetted, vouched for, and considered valuable. And yet, in these photographs, Meghan is seen seamlessly integrated into these circles, moving with a poise and confidence that suggests she knew exactly how to navigate this rarefied world. It wasn't a single event or a lucky coincidence. The leaks show her repeatedly appearing in these spaces over multiple years. Luxury yachts in Monaco, Mediterranean harbors known for hosting the world's most exclusive parties, intimate gatherings where every interaction carries weight. Each image speaks to strategic consistency. The same facilitators, the same influential faces, the same elite networks, all intersecting with Meghan's path long before the headlines ever did. This was networking with purpose, a careful cultivation of relationships that would later intersect with her Hollywood career, her media ventures, and eventually her royal marriage. These aren't moments of leisure. They are scenes of subtle, high-stakes influence. Every gesture, every interaction, every photograph captured is a piece of a calculated narrative she was constructing, layer by layer, quietly and efficiently. What makes this even more striking is how long these connections stayed hidden. For over a decade, the world never saw this side of her life. Even as she navigated Hollywood auditions and charity events, Meghan was simultaneously entering private international networks that operate under a strict code of discretion. This duality, the public struggling actress and the private high society strategist, has been invisible until now. And it raises fundamental questions. How did she gain access to TH's ultra-exclusive circles? Who opened those doors, and what role did these relationships play in shaping her career trajectory? The leaked images suggest that this wasn't just networking. It was a methodical positioning in a global game of influence, a game that most would never even know existed. The timing of the leak magnifies its impact. Meghan has spent years meticulously rebranding herself, Netflix projects, lifestyle ventures, media appearances, all designed to craft an image of authenticity and modern relatability. Yet these images threaten to disrupt that narrative, revealing a side of her past she likely hoped remained buried. Someone, deliberately, waited for the perfect moment to release these photos, strategically striking when her polished public persona was at its peak. The effect is jarring. The images do not merely hint at strategy. They scream it, showing a calculated rise through networks that merge wealth, power, and global influence. The public response has been immediate and intense. TikTok and Instagram detectives began dissecting every frame, analyzing body language, attire, and interactions. Twitter threads linked dates, locations, and attendees, cross-referencing them with known elites in business and politics. The photos, crystal clear and detailed, offer what insiders have been quietly claiming for years. Meghan's ascent was not purely the result of chance or raw talent. It was facilitated by relationships, carefully cultivated access, and a keen understanding of how to navigate spaces where influence matters more than visibility. What's even more fascinating is the subtle power these images reveal. Meghan doesn't appear as an outsider gawking at the world she wants to enter. She is poised, composed, and at ease, an individual who already understands the rules of these spaces, knows how to read the room, and can operate within it with confidence. This is someone who has learned, observed, and moved with intention. The photographs themselves almost narrate a story of education in power, lessons in etiquette, influence, and subtle social maneuvering that most of the public could never witness firsthand. And yet, despite the clarity of these images, Meghan has remained entirely silent. No statements, no explanations, not even a hint from her camp about what the photos reveal or the context behind them. That silence has only intensified speculation, creating a vacuum that the internet has rushed to fill. The longer she waits, the louder the questions grow. Who funded this lifestyle? How did she gain access to these ultra-exclusive events? What influence did these connections have on her Hollywood career, and later, her life as a royal? Every unanswered question becomes another layer of curiosity, another thread in the complex web now unspooling in public view. The implications are profound. These images don't just reveal parties or leisure. They reveal access, strategy, and an understanding of power that had previously been invisible. They transform Meghan's story from one of a struggling actress and fledgling royal into a narrative of calculated positioning and deliberate networking. And while networking itself is not inherently controversial, the dissonance arises because it clashes with the carefully curated image she has presented for years. The self-made, accessible, and relatable woman who ostensibly achieved success without the scaffolding of elite access. The photos suggest that the scaffolding existed, quietly and deliberately, behind the scenes all along. In the end, these yacht photos are more than visual evidence. They are a revelation. They expose a side of Meghan Markle that had been meticulously shielded from view, a side that operated within elite networks where every invitation, every connection, and every interaction carried weight. And now that the veil has been lifted, the narrative she has worked so hard to craft faces a test unlike any before, a public grappling with a past she cannot rewrite, and questions that will not fade with time. What makes these leaked photos even more compelling is the ripple effect they have across both elite and public spheres. When images like these emerge, they do more than reveal a past. They expose a hidden infrastructure of influence, the networks and gatekeepers who operate in shadows. Every invitation to a yacht gathering, every introduction to a Saudi prince or Gulf state figure is part of a carefully calibrated system. These circles do not allow chance. Presence is proof of trust, reputation, and perceived value. The photos suggest Meghan was not merely attending. She was recognized, welcomed, and positioned, a player, not a guest. Sources familiar with these high-level networks explain that access is never accidental. Someone with authority must open the door, someone must vouch for you, someone must decide your worth integrating into this selective sphere. According to insiders, Meghan did not simply stumble into these circles. As every interaction, every event, every introduction carries weight, and over time, they accumulate into influence that can quietly shape opportunities and trajectories. These images, once hidden, now illuminate the strategic groundwork she laid in her pre-royal years. They show the long game at work, building relationships, attending selective gatherings, and learning the codes of elite social diplomacy. The broader implications extend beyond personal ambition. In elite international circles, knowledge and discretion are everything. What is shared or leaked can alter reputations, power dynamics, and alliances. The fact that these photos emerged after over a decade suggests a deliberate choice by someone within these networks. Whether it's a former ally, a frustrated insider, or someone protecting powerful families, the timing is purposeful. It is a reminder that in these worlds, patience is a weapon. One strategically released image can reshape narratives that have been carefully constructed for years. Equally fascinating is Meghan's composure within these settings. She does not appear intimidated or out of place. She moves with assurance, suggesting not only familiarity but mastery. The photos hint at an intimate understanding of elite etiquette, subtle power dynamics, and the ways influence is quietly exchanged. These were not casual interactions. They were exercises in strategic positioning. The sustained nature of her engagement, multiple years, repeated appearances with the same figures, underscores planning, trust, and calculated networking. In essence, these images capture someone learning and practicing the rules of influence at the highest level, long before they were forced into public scrutiny as a member of the royal family. The public reaction only magnifies the stakes. For years, Meghan has curated a narrative of determination, independence, and self-made success. These photos disrupt that story. They suggest that while talent and ambition were part of her rise, strategic networking and calculated access played a critical role, tools often invisible to the public eye but crucial in elite circles. And the silence from her camp speaks volumes. In the absence of explanation, speculation flourishes, turning curiosity into debate and debate into controversy. Every unanswered question becomes a spark, igniting further scrutiny, analysis, and conjecture. Meanwhile, the timing amplifies the impact. Meghan's rebrand is at its peak. Netflix projects, lifestyle ventures, and strategic media appearances, all designed to craft a relatable, authentic image. Then, these yacht photos emerge, disrupting the narrative. They not only challenge public perception, but also threaten to expose the mechanisms behind her rise. Who financed these travels? Who facilitated these introductions? What conversations and negotiations took place behind closed doors? Each question digs deeper, hinting at networks, influence, and opportunity carefully constructed over years. And the intrigue doesn't stop there. The emergence of these images also reveals cracks in the usual codes of silence. Circles that have historically operated under extreme discretion now seem vulnerable, whether due to shifting loyalties, frustration with curated public narratives, or a desire to reveal the truth. Someone inside has decided to break the long-standing confidentiality. That alone is extraordinary. In spaces where privacy is law, the appearance of these photos signals a seismic shift. The old rules no longer apply, and once hidden histories are now exposed to global scrutiny. What we are witnessing, in essence, is a collision between private strategy and public narrative. Meghan's early years, long obscured behind glamour and discretion, are now under the microscope. Each photo, each frame tells a story of calculated access, deliberate engagement, and sustained networking. The implications are vast. They challenge assumptions about her rise, raise questions about the power structures she navigated, and illuminate a chapter of her life that was never meant for public view. And as the images continue to circulate, the story grows richer, more complex, and undeniably compelling. The timing of this leak is far from coincidental. January 2026 finds Meghan deep into her meticulously planned rebrand, rolling out Netflix projects, lifestyle ventures, and carefully curated public appearances meant to cement her as authentic, relatable, and modern. She has crafted a persona designed to appeal to global audiences, approachable yet influential, independent yet inspiring. And then, without warning, the photos surface. Like a masterfully aimed signal, they disrupt the narrative she has worked years to control. Her silence since the leak is deafening. No statements, no clarifications, no context. In an era where information spreads faster than intention, silence doesn't calm curiosity, it ignites it. Every day that passes, the story drifts further from her hands. And speculation grows louder, more insistent, more difficult to contain. The questions now dominating conversations across social media, elite networks, and the press are direct and unavoidable. Who financed these luxurious trips across the Mediterranean? Who vouch for her access to exclusive gatherings that are normally beyond reach? How extensive were these relationships, and how much did they shape opportunities, influence, or the trajectory of her career? Perhaps most crucially, who leaked these photos and why? These inquiries are not based on conjecture. They are grounded in evidence and first-hand knowledge. They confront the narrative Meghan has carefully cultivated for years, challenging the story of independence, relatability, and self-made success that she has worked tirelessly to present. The images themselves reveal a chapter of Meghan's life that has never been publicly acknowledged. They show her operating within a sphere defined by strategy, influence, and power, long before her royal marriage or Hollywood stardom. The international scope is striking. Middle Eastern royalty, Gulf state elites, and private social circles where privacy is law and discretion is currency. For such images to surface now indicates a serious breach of protocol. Once trust in these circles is broken, it cannot easily be restored. Every photograph, every invitation, every handwritten note or travel itinerary could be used as evidence, exposing layers of a life previously hidden from the public eye. Sources close to these networks suggest that the leak may be only the beginning. Those behind it could be testing public reactions, measuring attention, and preparing to release additional material, more images, private travel records, invitations, or insider accounts. If more emerges, the story Meghan has long presented, the self-made, relatable underdog narrative, faces its most serious test yet. Her choices are stark: remain silent and risk letting speculation run rampant, or respond and invite scrutiny into previously hidden details. Neither option offers comfort. The pressure intensifies, and her rebrand, credibility, and control over her own story are now at stake. These yacht photos are more than mere snapshots. They are evidence. Evidence of deliberate, calculated networking. evidence that a hidden chapter of her life existed for over a decade, evidence that the carefully curated image she has projected has always been susceptible to exposure. The unanswered question remains whether this leak is an isolated incident or a precursor to more revelations. For now, these crystal-clear images have shattered the barrier Meghan likely hoped would remain impenetrable. Her silence amplifies speculation, inviting scrutiny and making observers wonder what else might emerge. The narrative is evolving. The spotlight is no longer fully within her control. The world is watching intently, and for the first time, Meghan finds herself reacting rather than directing the story. The next chapter, whether additional photos surface, insiders speak, or her own response reshapes the narrative, is impossible to predict. One certainty remains: the story she has carefully managed has been disrupted, and the consequences of these revelations are only beginning to unfold. Beyond the immediate spectacle of the leaked images, the broader implications are profound. These photos hint at a level of social strategy and sophistication that challenges common perceptions. Meghan is no longer simply a former actress, a duchess, or a media figure. She is a participant in a hidden, elite world navigating high-stakes relationships with the precision of someone fully aware of the rules and risks. Each glance, each interaction captured in these photos tells a story of preparation, poise, and long-term calculation. Far from the casual celebrity outings the public has long imagined, these are moves executed with purpose and foresight, positioning her in circles where influence, power, and opportunity converge. In short, what the world sees now is a carefully managed persona colliding with a reality she cannot fully control. The yacht photos are not just images. They are a window into a private history, a testament to influence built quietly, strategically, and over years. They raise questions about ambition, privacy, and narrative control in ways few could have anticipated. As the world continues to analyze, dissect, and debate, one truth remains clear: the story is far from over, and the next revelations could redefine how Meghan Markle's journey, from Hollywood to royalty to global influencer, is understood.